Right, so I'm going to do grout. We're going to do it in smaller parts, right? We took a little bit out of the bag already to do that test, but we don't need 25 pounds, right? I only need like 13 pounds, but they only sell 10 pounds or 25. So I think it does 2.6 quarts per is the minimum amount of water suggested uh, per bag. So really, if we do 2.5 pound batches, we can do 0.26 quarts, which is essentially a cup. That'll be on the thick side. Mix it up, see how we like it. If we need to add a splash of water, we will. But I think the thicker, the better, as long as we can get away with it. So yeah, they do suggest dry mixing this in case the color settles. That stuff ended up pretty white, but for all I know, all the color was on that end. So I think what we'll do is we bought this bucket specifically for mixing the grout in, so it'd be super clean. I think what we do instead is find our second cleanest bucket. Well, we don't want to clean something and end up with water in it. Yeah, I think we'll pour it in here to dry mix it so we know it doesn't get contaminated. And then we'll pour it back in its bag after we dry mix it, and then we'll do our, well, 2.5 pounds. We're going to be able to do it in the small. We're going to be able to mix it in the small container. So yeah, we'll just pour it in here, dry mix it in here so we know it's good, and we'll just dip in with our little tools, measure out 2.5 pounds, give it a cup of water, and go upstairs and see how far that grouts us. Just do little sections at a time. Here we go. This is 2.5 pounds of material with 1 cup of water. I dry mixed it in a bucket first to kind of make sure the color's even. Granted, with a really light like this, like a bright white, or avalanche, whatever it's called, probably not super necessary because it's not going to, like, what, it'll be slightly different shades of white. People won't notice. But if you had something darker, it would be important. We're probably not going to use this guy. I don't think it's going to be necessary. We got our float, sponge, 2 buckets of water for rinsing, ladder for maybe get some of it on film if I don't look too fat. So yeah, we'll give it a go. I think we're all cleaned up and ready. So what's the worst that can happen? Now, I did watch a video of that guy Sal out in Boston, and he did he's the exact same map by ultra whatever fine aggregate stuff, exact same bag, just kind of he had the white instead of avalanche, so really no difference between the two. And his instructions actually said to this, was it slate, whatever, where you mix it, you let it sit for a few minutes, and you mix it again. Whereas my bag doesn't say that, and the current tech sheet doesn't say that. So I kind of erred on the side of caution. I was like, well, if I let it sit and then I mix it again, that doesn't, like, if I let it slate, I don't remember the word, but if I let it do that, it doesn't hurt me any, right? Eats up a couple minutes, 2 or 3 minutes of potable life, but like, I can't drink it after that. Now, like, the pot life might be a little shorter, but we're mixing up small batches because we're afraid of that anyway. Now, he mixed out 10 pounds at once and did a whole shower in one go. He also does it for a living, so I don't trust that I can get away with that. And if I have to do a little section and then go mix up more, it's not really a big deal. It's not gonna, only thing it does is make it take longer for me to do it, which I don't mind. I'd rather do that than waste material or feel rushed and screw something up. So we'll use up this 2.5 pounds. We'll start over there before we get in. Yeah, we'll just go across the whole top and work our way down a couple rows at a time, see how far it gets us. If we use it up quickly and we get a third of the way down the wall, then we know 5 pounds will finish this wall. We'll just mix up 5 pounds. So we'll just see how it goes. So there's all that's left. There's a little bit I scraped off with the pad. Whoops. Now it's contaminated. Anyway, I'll probably go ahead and rinse that off, dry it off, clean this off. We'll toss this bucket and get a fresh one. And I do wonder, like, before I wash this, 'cause what he does is he always touches it. There's a bunch up here that's starting to dry. And we want that out of the way so we can get our next row up. So we'll do a little bit of cleanup here before it sets up, just because that top lip. But what he was showing is that when you touch it, it doesn't come off on your finger. And this is still coming off of my finger, so it's not ready to wash yet. But we will get this top edge cleaned up, probably wipe down, just get this stuff off of here so we don't have to worry about it possibly scratching it later. And then we'll do our wash. And I think I'll take my little tool and I'll just pick out anywhere it isn't full, right? And make sure that when I get the next row up, I'm not trying to fill in these little pockets that are hollow underneath. Okay, now we're to the point, I think, where it doesn't come off on my finger. A little bit comes off. So I'll have to wait a little longer, but that's fine. That means we can start grouting further down and these transition areas won't be as big of a deal. But we do want to, as soon as we're able, wash these. It's so close. I mixed up 5 pounds this time. It takes up almost the whole container until the water mixes in, and then it just really drops down. So, 2 buckets for washing, just to kind of keep things as clean as possible and less haze right at the end. So we'll get in here, we'll start working our way down some more, and we'll check on the top. But once we go to wash this, same thing, try to stay diagonal, nice even pressure with the sponge so we don't like dig anything out of the holes. And you want to do, at least the second time around, 1 pass of the sponge and then rinse it, do a pass, rinse it. With a different sponge, it doesn't have the buffing pad on the other side. Well, I could wash with this side and then wash with the other side and then rinse it back off. But you want very little water. You don't want to get a lot of water in this stuff or it'll get all dusty and weird when it cures. Okay, so got down a little further. This stuff's finally doesn't come off on my finger anymore. It's exactly how he said to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and try giving it a wash, see how it goes. I wonder if washing it proper takes some of these lines out, right? Some of the spots, there's some pretty good streaks, but I don't know, I've never done it before. I don't know what it's supposed to look like. Okay, so I think it only looked too wet to me at first because this tile's glass, right? And it's, yeah, so it looked kind of wet. Now the sponge is making this, it's giving it a nice uniform finish as we go across. So I think we're in the ballpark of what we're supposed to be doing. Now, we're not going to worry too much, right? We'll get down part way and we'll start doing more grout because this stuff down here, my fingers are all wet. This isn't ready yet, so we'll just kind of get this corner done, and work on doing grout more. And then you're supposed to go back, say like an hour, according to the package, and then you do another wash to get some of this stuff off. So that might be actually, hour might be when you dry buff. So maybe that we just get this as good as we can, let it haze like it's supposed to, know that our tile's got some color to it, but it's also light, so it just really shows. If we had a white tile up, it would look clean right now and we'd be okay with it. So I'm not going to overdo it because we don't want to get too much water in there. A couple quick things. That one sponge, this like pad looking thing, it is actually really good. Like come back and wash and I can hit these small areas and just real gently break up stuff that's not where I want it to be, and then come back with the sponge and pick up that part. It just really, that cuts down on some of the time, gets you the bulk of it out, it doesn't scratch the tile, and then I can come back and sponge this stuff. Yeah, a couple spots like this corner here, right, where there's just a little bit of lippage, but we don't want it to be that obvious. So we can get in here with this and kind of feather it in. Get that edge somewhat straight. It doesn't look goofy, right? It looks like it's supposed to. You know, you can come back with a sponge and pick that up and it'll just look a lot better. The other thing I found with this sponge, everybody I watched, they don't use the microfiber side. So I was like, well, why not? And then look how clean the wall is already, right? And this seems to retain a lot more of the material and then still rinse off well. It's like when I come over it, it pulls all that off, and I can wipe around in all kinds of funny directions, and it doesn't leave streaks until it really gets full of material. Like if I come down here and go across, like look at how much more it takes off, and if I go right back over it, it leaves a little bit of haze. But you can see as it starts to pack up, it leaves more and more haze. And then when I come in and rinse it out, I haven't even used that bucket yet. My intention was to bulk rinse in this one and then go ahead and give it a rinse in that other one afterwards. I'm gonna put my hand down because I actually wring these out. Oh, yeah. So I've been rolling the thing up and just really, come on, as much of the water out of it as I can, so I don't retain that water on the wall. And then right back to where we were. Look at how much cleaner that is. So microfiber side for the win. It's just a lot. It dumbs it down. I don't have to be careful about rotating the sponge. It ends up looking pretty damn good. So we're gonna keep working our way down. We'll check these and make sure they're dry enough. I may be reaching a little too far right now and need to put more up. But it also seems, as long as you keep this stuff together so it's next to more of itself, the pot life's pretty good. That's that 5 pounds still that I'd mixed up. So I think we'll do 5 pounds at a time now until the shower's done. This is the biggest wall, so I think the rest of it's really going to go quick. Might be a little difficult around the curb because there's some small areas, but I don't know. It's looking really good. I really like how it's coming out. I think we can always decide later to sort of the little pinholes, right? We'll probably go ahead and scour those out, but that may be better to do after it's maybe I'll do it now. I don't know. It's hard to tell when the best time to deal with that would be. Or we just leave them. I think it's supposed to look like that, right? Oh, the bit that's left on there is really starting to stiffen up, so probably 5 pounds is my working limit. But now that I know a little bit more about how this stuff behaves, I think the right answer is to clean up the tools so they're ready to go for the next round. We'll get another fresh bucket of water, so we have 2 good ones up here. We know the niches are going to be a pain in the butt to grout. It's just look at those shelves in there. It's going to be awful. So we'll mix up another 5 pounds, and we'll wait for this to be ready to wash. We'll wash this. We'll kind of be reset. We'll mix up another 5 pounds. We'll finish the bottom part of this. And we're getting some on the floor, but we'll clean that up before we do the floor. And we'll just come down this wall with our 5 pound batch and see how far it gets. And then when we mix up our next 5 pound batch, we'll do the same thing. We'll wait for this one to dry all the way so we can wash it. And then the next one will probably have to be ready to do the floor. So we'll clean up some of the floor. We'll be a little more aware on this side of where we're dripping stuff. But we'll do the niches first with a fresh pot and then work our way down and around. And if we have to mix up more than 10 more pounds, and that's well, no, because we've done 7.5 pounds so far. So if we do 5 pounds, we'll be at 17.5 pounds of a 25 pound bag. So we're just going to have plenty of the stuff. It'd be nice to have enough of that bag left to grout the top when that tile comes in. So it's all from the same batch and we don't have to worry about color variation, but I don't think it's going to be an issue for us anyway. Okay, so this wall's looking good. I just cleaned off the bottom. This stuff's not quite ready to be cleaned. This 5 pound, these batches are about the right pace. I decided at the end I had enough left to do the niche, and then a lot of these areas, like above the glass, I want silicone. Corners, I want silicone. So it really wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I think it's going to be it's not easy, right? I put a lot of it up with the little hand trowel and then came back in and tried to scrape it as flat as I could. So I don't know, we're getting used to that. Microfiber side of the sponge really helps tear the stuff off a lot better than the sponge side. I really like how it comes out, and it gets the stuff off the surface pretty well too. So there'll for sure be some haze on here that we'll have to buff off, but overall everything's looking really good. And this stuff does set up fast. I mean, I've been at it a couple hours. Like, it goes right along the lines of everything takes way longer than you expect, right? So I think so. We do this whole bottom in this whole section. So I think the next 5 pound batch is going to finish it. I think it's going to be able to do the whole floor. If it doesn't, we'll just mix up, a 2.5 pound to top her off. Now, let's see, think. So yeah, so what I'm going to do, there's a couple spots where I had really big globs drip. In this last section, we won't care if things drip because we can just spread it out as if we're doing the floor. So in the future, I would have taped the cardboard down along the edges. Last time it kind of slid on me and got goofy, but we'll go ahead and clean our tools up so they're ready for the next batch. We'll get this wall washed off. We'll get the cardboard up and we'll re-prep and vacuum the floor to make sure there's no impurities in it, and then we'll see if we can't get to the end with just 5 more pounds. Really close, right? So that's the last of our 5 pounds. We got this little section and then the curb to do. So I think we're going to mix up 1 pound. I think I can do that without it being too screwy. So we'll do a little math, get the water we need, and see if we can't knock this all out. Well, I think it turned out really good. So, wait, it turned out really well. It went well. It turned out good. I don't remember grammar. Who cares? Either way, everything's done. Well, not everything, but all the grout's done until we get more tile. So, tomorrow, I'm doing some remote work in normal hours of the day instead of second shift stuff. So, we'll probably just wait till evening and do some caulk. Well, really I should put the glass in before doing caulk, because that'll use the clear caulk. Well, no, because everything that I need to caulk with the matching caulk has nothing to do with the glass. So I can go around and hit the areas that'll get the avalanche white, and then everything to do with this glass will be clear when I install it. So I can wait, maybe the son's test will come back by then and we'll know, if he's negative, then I can have my dad come over and help out with the glass, because it's not really a one-man job, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, no, now that I don't think it's a one-man job, it's not a one-man job. Trying to install those glass panels by myself would be stupid. So that's where we'll sit today, and tomorrow we'll buff some of the haze off and get up the matching silicone along corners and whatnot. Actually, I should cut that trim strip and put it up, because I'm going to do silicone along that. So maybe I'll do that tomorrow as well. Although I'd like to use a table saw for that. So it can wait. It's fine.